Welcome to the Kingdoms and Empires channel, where we explore pre-colonial African history. In our previous series, we looked at some of the lesser-known but very powerful empires and kingdoms across the African continent before the arrival of the Europeans. In the first part of this two-part series, we will be exploring some of the greatest kings that ruled and led territories across Africa. If you like this kind of content, please check out our other videos and playlists linked below and subscribe to our channel for more videos. We post videos every other week and we'd love to hear from you, so please leave a comment below. The first king that we'll be exploring in this series is Shaka Zulu. Sigidi Sengangakona, well known as Shaka or Shaka Zulu, is a legend in African history whose legacy is one that is associated with bravery, military strategy, and ultimate tragedy. Shaka, a black warrior with visionary ideas, became a military genius who led the Zulu kingdoms to greatness. He was the son of Sengangakona, a chief of a clan of Nguni people, and Nandi, an orphan princess of the neighboring Ilangeni clan. He ruled the Zulu people from 1816 to 1828. He rose to power following the death of his father, Sengangakona. He forcefully took power by assassinating his brother, Sigujano, who had been appointed as heir, with military assistance from Disingwanyo, a chief of a neighboring clan. As a boy, Shaka played stick fighting, a standard martial art amongst the Nguni tribe. It was an ancient sport that involved playing with a long stick and a shield. He practiced so much on his own that he became so good at it. By the time he fought his challengers, he was so powerful and would win easily. Shaka trained so much and became stronger that he caught the Nguni clan chieftain's attention, particularly Dingiswayo. Dingiswayo, who was building his army at the time, recruited Shaka as a promising soldier. He went on to serve as a warrior for 6 years under the rule of Dingiswayo, the Methethwa's chief. Shaka became the commander of the Dingiswayo army. As a commander, he introduced new tactics and weapons to his army. He made his warriors walk barefoot like him to toughen up their feet and maneuver better during battles. He also introduced short spears, ikiwa, which he believed were better weapons for close combat. His goal was to train his warriors to get close enough during battles to stab their enemies and move to the next with the same spear. This would teach his warriors to be courageous enough to face and fight anyone in close combat. Additionally, he introduced a strategy called buffalo horn formation, which his army used to trap their rivals before finishing them. These new strategies and tactics made his army too fierce, and he won many battles, making them feared across other tribes and kingdoms. Under the reign of Shaka, the Zulu kingdom expanded rapidly, with conquered territories forced to swear loyalty to King Shaka. This made him a figure of great power and authority over a huge region. He was said to have ruled with an iron fist while demanding full obedience from his subjects. He continued to grow his army and empire, and by 1827, Shaka had no rival in their region, and he controlled the vast region of present-day South Africa. Shaka Zulu's key achievements included military conquest. Shaka transformed the Zulu army from a small force of around 350 warriors to a powerful regional force of up to 50,000 soldiers. He introduced new tactics and weapons, including a short stabbing spear called Ikiwa and the large cowhide shield, which enabled the warriors to engage in close combat successfully. Under his command, the Zulu army conquered and incorporated many neighboring clans, in turn expanding the Zulu kingdom. Shaka also introduced several reforms to the Zulu society, which helped in centralize power and maintain social order. He created a hierarchical government system established in loyalty and absolute obedience. He would visit the army kraal from time to time to supervise them, thus ensuring they followed his commands. He made boys join the army from a young age to ensure they received proper training by the time they were grown. Every non-disabled man in his kingdom was forced into the army in an attempt to instill discipline and loyalty among men. Besides, Shaka Zulu was also a great diplomat who established alliances with neighboring clans. He used his diplomacy skills as a means of conflict resolution whenever issues arose with his neighbor kingdoms. In 1827, at the height of his power, Shaka's mother Nandi died. Nandi's death did not settle well with Shaka, and he became openly psychotic. The sadness and anger over his mother's death led Shaka to force people in his entire kingdom to mourn her death for a long while. He ordered that no new crops should be planted for the following 1 year. He also ordered that people should not consume milk for a year. Shaka was so saddened that he demanded killing all pregnant women in his kingdom. He was so bitter that when he remembered the mistreatment and harassment they encountered while growing up, he became ruthless and ordered the killing of thousands of Ilingani people. In 1828, the Zulus had enough of Shaka's cruelty and wanted to rebel against his reign. His brutal treatment and massacre of his people, including his own army, nearly caused a mutiny. His reign ended abruptly when his half-brothers Dengane and Malangana assassinated him in 1828 and buried him in an unmarked grave. Among the Zulu people, Shaka is recognized as a hero and symbol of identity and independence. He is credited as the founder of the Zulu people. When he took over, Zulu was a divided society with many clans that lived independently. He then united various clans into one huge empire. He also revolutionized the military and agricultural sectors. Shaka introduced new agricultural techniques and customs which helped to promote social cohesion and solidarity. To foreigners, Shaka's legacy is more of a complex one. While some foreigners acknowledge his military genius and political achievements, others criticize the violent ways and brutality used in his reign. They see him as a bloodthirsty, ruthless killer who spared no one to ensure his commands and feelings were respected. Some claim he massacred thousands of people, both enemies and his kingdom's people. He also forced people not to marry in what seemed to be personal beliefs. Shaka Zulu died without a child, as he never married, and for the women who at some point claimed they carried his pregnancy, he had them killed or gave them to his brother in what is known as a weakling. Idris Alooma is the greatest and most famous ruler of the Bornu Empire. He was born around 1538 AD in the Saifawa dynasty, which existed in the Bornu Empire in present-day Chad, Nigeria, and parts of Cameroon. Alooma rose to power as the king of Mai of the Bornu Empire in 1564, after years of weak and poor leadership in Bornu. He became king after the reign of Queen Magira Aisha, a powerful woman who mentored Idris and instilled leadership skills in him. Bornu, led by Idris Alooma, reached its height during his reign. Bornu originated as two separate empires, Kanem and Bornu. The Bornu Empire was founded by the Kanuri people, while Kanem belonged to the Kanembu people. Idris Alooma later consolidated the two empires to form the Bornu Empire. The consolidation resulted from Alooma's aim of uniting his people and expanding his empire's territories. He expanded Bornu Empire to cover modern-day Chad, Nigeria, Cameroon, and Niger. The key achievements of Alooma include expanding the Bornu Empire to reach its greatest extent, introducing administrative reforms that helped to centralize his government, making it more efficient, establishing excellent diplomatic relations with powerful empires such as the Ottoman Empire, promoting of Islam since he was a devout Muslim, and outstanding military prowess. He was known to attack his targets multiple times repeatedly to weaken them before conquering them. Being a great military innovator, Alooma was involved in many battles during his reign, winning most of them. The key battles include the Battle of Ngonu, in which he fought against the Bulala people and successfully defeated them. He also fought in the conquest of Hausaland and eventually conquered them and incorporated the Hausa city-states into his empire. Alooma also fought the Battle of Kirshi, where he led a successful military campaign against the Tuareg people. Lastly, Alooma fought the Battle of Wadi Kaukau, that is now modern-day Chad, and defeated the local tribes, establishing his reign over that territory. Alooma is known to have built several structures in his empire. The most known include the Gidan Alooma, which is his palace and administrative center. He also built the Mai Idris Alooma Mosque in Ngazagamu, the capital center of the Bornu Empire. This mosque was one of the largest mosques in the region during his time and had features of unique designs in a blend of African and Islamic architectural styles. Another structure was the Diwan, which was the official meeting place or court for making important decisions about administration. Alooma also built walls to surround the Bornu Empire capital and a defense structure for his army. These walls helped to protect the city from attacks. After a prosperous reign of about 32 years, in 1596, Old Idris Alooma was killed in the Bagawimi military campaign to conquer Alu in the northwestern part of modern-day Nigeria. He was buried in Lake Alu, near Maiduguri. After his death, Duma Dabalemi took over as the king of the Bornu Empire. Idris Alooma's legacy amongst his people is that of a visionary leader who brought significant changes to his empire. He is remembered to have established a strong centralized system that was highly efficient. His legacy of military conquest is also outstanding. Besides, Alooma also transformed trade and agriculture in his empire. Furthermore, he promoted Islam to make it a dominant religion in his territory. To foreigners, Alooma is known as a significant figure in African history. His achievements and contributions to the Bornu Empire are long-standing. He is regarded as a great model of effective governance and leadership. Idris Alooma is remembered for his strategic and great leadership, outstanding military prowess, and economic and cultural development. This legacy is what made him great to the present time. Benhanzin Bowell, or Benhanzin Bowell, was a powerful West African king who ruled over the kingdom of Dahomey, present-day Benin, from 1889 to 1894. Born in 1884, Benhanzin Bowell was the son of King Gileli, the 10th king of the kingdom of Dahomey, and Queen Hangbe. He took over as the king despite not being the oldest son of King Gileli. Though challenged by other family members, Benhanzin established himself as the legitimate ruler. Behanzin ruled over the Fon people, who were the largest ethnic group in Dahomey. Their origins are not well known, but they supposedly originated from Togo and migrated to Dahomey, present-day Benin, in the 16th century. Though the exact extent of his territory was unknown, Dahomey covered modern-day Benin and parts of Togo. When Behanzin took over as king, he immediately faced French attempts to include Dahomey as a French colony. However, he fiercely refused to accept any treaties. Because of his fearlessness and determination to resist European colonization, he was nicknamed the Great Shark. King Shark's greatest achievements included commanding a strong military of more than 150,000 people. He advanced his army by introducing new weapons and reorganized it into a formidable army. With his mighty army, he conquered several other kingdoms to expand his territory. He is also known to have promoted education in his kingdom and established several schools. The major battles fought by Behanzin were against the French. The various battles include the Battle of Cotonou in 1890, where the Damian army attacked the French-controlled city of Cotonou, but the French emerged victorious. Another major battle was the Battle of Porgessa in 1892, fought against the French forces led by Colonel Alfred Amedee Dodds. The French also won this battle. The last battle was the Battle of Atakpame in 1894, where the French won the battle and took over Dahomey by including it under its protectorate. Behanzin's rule came to an end in 1894 after a series of battles with the French. He surrendered to the French and was exiled to Martinique, a French colony in the Caribbean, together with his family. He lived the rest of his life in exile before being allowed into Algeria in 1906, where he eventually died. Behanzin is considered a hero and a symbol of resistance to colonialism among his people. He is always portrayed as a courageous warrior and a strategic ruler who fought to preserve the independence of his kingdom. Foreigners regard Behanzin as a key figure in African history who established fierce resistance against European colonization. He is admired for his assertion of the independence of his kingdom and people. Mansa Musa was the ruler of the Mali Empire in West Africa from 1312 to 1337. He is considered one of the wealthiest rulers to have ever lived due to his vast personal gold fortunes. Mansa Musa ascended to the throne in 1312 after his uncle Abubakar II disappeared after a voyage to explore the other side of the Atlantic Ocean. Musa's brother Mansa Abubakar took over from Abubakar II but failed to prove himself as a strong ruler. Mansa Musa then took the opportunity to seize power, and so he launched an attempt with his military to overthrow his brother and claim the throne for himself. Mansa Musa ruled over several ethnic and linguistic groups, including the Mandinka, Soninke, and Songhai people. During his reign, the Mali Empire covered a vast area that included modern-day Mali, Senegal, Gambia, Niger, and Burkina Faso. Musa proved himself as a great king and a wise administrator. He was also recognized as a very generous ruler who gave out parts of his wealth to poor people. The greatest achievements of Mansa Musa included the economic development of his empire through the promotion of trade and commerce, especially with the resources such as gold and salt. He also extended the Mali Empire, doubling its size to become the second largest empire in the region. Musa developed various cities including Timbuktu and Gao, turning them into major cultural and commercial centers. He also promoted education in his empire by establishing Islamic schools and institutions throughout the empire and invited scholars and intellectuals from across the Muslim world to come and teach his people. His reign is also remembered for the numerous buildings and projects he funded. Musa constructed many mosques, palaces, and other public buildings. He is particularly famous as the richest person in history and for his pilgrimage to Mecca in 1324. Musa died in 1337 under unclear circumstances. Some accounts claim he died in his sleep, while other stories say he died leading a military campaign against the Mossi Kingdom in present-day Burkina Faso. He was succeeded by his son, Mansa I. His people remember Mansa Musa as a great leader who led the Mali Empire to prosperity and economic stability. He built many structures including palaces, mosques, schools, and universities in order to empower his people. He was seen as a pious and devout leader who was faithful to Islam. Foreigners know Mansa for his massive wealth and generosity. He made a lasting impression and cemented a reputation as one of the wealthiest and most powerful rulers in history. He is regarded as a wise and just ruler who was also a devout Muslim who led his empire to greatness. Menelik II was the Emperor of Ethiopia from 1889 to 1913. Born Salih Miriam in 1884, Menelik II was the son of Haile Melekot, the king of Shewa. His mother was a palace servant. Menelik II's rise to power came after Emperor Johann IV was killed in a battle against the Sudanese Mahdist state. Menelik II took the opportunity and sought support from other regional rulers, which facilitated his rise to the throne. Menelik II ruled Ethiopian ethnic groups, including the Amhara, Oromo, and Tigray, amongst others. These tribes were part of the Ethiopian people who are believed to have descended from the kingdom of Axum. Menelik II's rule extended to territories including modern-day Ethiopia, parts of Somalia, Djibouti, and Sudan. The key achievements of Menelik II included the large-scale modernization of Ethiopia by introducing several reforms that facilitated the transformation of the kingdom. He brought a new national currency, established buildings and service educational facilities and ministries. He is also credited for installing a railway from Djibouti to Addis Ababa. Additionally, Menelik II introduced new technologies such as telegraphs and telephones. His greatest achievement also involves the defeat of the Italian invasion. He fought in a battle of the Oduduwa in 1896, defeating the Italian army and resisting European colonization in Ethiopia. His victory made Ethiopia the only African country to have never been colonized. Furthermore, he expanded his kingdom's territory by conquering several neighboring kingdoms, including Shewa and Harar, to become part of the Ethiopian Empire. To his people, Menelik II is recognized as a great leader whose role was crucial in maintaining Ethiopia's independence and territorial integrity. He is also remembered for modernizing his empire through a series of reforms and helped transform Ethiopia. He was also respected for his strong stance against slavery. He made efforts to end slavery in Ethiopia. Foreigners recognized Menelik II for his victory against the Italian army at the Battle of Adwa in 1896. His victory was regarded as a symbol of African resistance against European colonization. However, he has a few controversies, such as criticism for his mistreatment of minority groups in Ethiopia. This brings us to the end of the first part of this series. In part 2, we will explore the more noteworthy African kings and their exploits. Please subscribe to stay updated and like and share this video as it really helps us out.